The set of The View buzzed with its usual blend of anticipation and controversy. Mark Wahlberg had been invited to discuss his latest film, a personal project focusing on faith, redemption, and the value of second chances. But what started as a routine promotional appearance quickly spiraled into a live showdown that left viewers stunned and the internet ablaze. Wahlberg walked onto the set with his usual mix of humility and quiet confidence. Dressed in a sleek black bomber jacket, he greeted each co-host with polite handshakes and a friendly smile, but from the moment he sat down, tension sizzled under the surface. The first few minutes went as expected. Whoopi Goldberg welcomed him warmly, and Sarah Haynes asked about the inspiration behind his new role, a former convict turned pastor trying to reconcile with his past. Wahlberg spoke passionately about the real-life stories that influenced the film, sharing his own history of troubled youth, run-ins with the law, and eventual spiritual awakening. The crowd responded with supportive applause. Then Joy Behar jumped in. "Well, Mark," she began, her voice dripping with her signature sarcasm, "you've certainly come a long way from being that shirtless rapper with a criminal record. It's nice to see you've found religion." Wahlberg paused. His expression didn't flinch, but his eyes narrowed ever so slightly. The jab had landed, and it wasn't the kind you just brush off. "I don't run from my past, Joy," he said coolly. "But I don't turn it into a punchline, either." The audience gave a polite, "ooh," sensing the shift. Joy chuckled, trying to play it off. "Oh come on, lighten up. People change, sure, but you can't blame folks for pointing out a little irony. I mean, you made a fortune off violent movies and now you're preaching peace." Mark leaned forward, his elbows resting on his knees, and the room went dead silent. "You know, it's funny," he said, voice low and calm, "how easy it is to sit in that chair and pass judgment on people. You make a career out of mocking others, politicians, actors, athletes, all from the safety of a talk show set." Joy bristled. "That's not what I do. Isn't it?" Wahlberg countered. "You think throwing sarcasm at someone's journey is journalism? No, it's lazy. You don't have to believe in what I'm doing, that's fine. But you don't get to mock it just to get a laugh from the audience." The tension hit its peak. Sarah and Sunny shifted uncomfortably. Even Whoopi, usually the show's stabilizing force, stayed quiet, her brow raised as if even she hadn't expected this level of directness. Joy tried to pivot. "I'm not mocking, I'm challenging. There's a difference. Not when the challenge is laced with contempt," Mark replied. "I came here to talk about redemption, about people getting second chances. I'm not here to be your punchline." A few scattered claps echoed from the audience. Joy's face hardened. "Well, you're a public figure, Mark. People are going to have opinions. And public figures should also have the chance to grow without being dragged every time they try," he said. "If someone like me, with a messy past, can change, it gives hope to others. That's the point. Not everyone has the luxury of sitting behind a desk criticizing people who are out there doing the work." The audience erupted, not in laughter, but in applause. Joy was visibly rattled, but tried to maintain composure. "So now I'm the villain?" "No," Wahlberg said, standing his ground. "You're just part of the noise. I'm trying to be part of the message." The producers scrambled behind the cameras, motioning for a commercial break. But the moment had already gone viral. On Twitter, clips were being clipped, captioned, and shared at lightning speed. Wahlberg had said what many had thought for years, that beneath Joy Behar's comedic quips and progressive outrage was a streak of condescension that often crossed the line. As the show cut to break, Wahlberg leaned back in his chair, looked out at the stunned crowd, and said plainly, "People can change. Some of us try, some just talk." With that final line, the audience burst into full applause, and Joy Behar, for once, had nothing to say. Let me know if you'd like part 2 extended to match or revised in tone. The fallout from Mark Wahlberg's live clash with Joy Behar didn't just simmer, it exploded. By the time the segment aired in full later that afternoon, the internet had already caught fire. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform lit up with clips of Wahlberg's calm takedown, especially the moment he stared straight into the camera and declared, some just talk. Hashtags like hashtag Wahlberg claps back and hashtag view meltdown began trending within the hour. Some viewers cheered him as a rare voice of backbone, while others called it the most uncomfortable moment in The View in years. ABC's phone lines reportedly rang off the hook with both praise and outrage. Behind closed doors, producers scrambled to handle the unexpected PR firestorm. One source leaked to a gossip blog that executives had warned Behar earlier that week to ease up on confrontational tactics, especially with high-profile guests. She didn't listen, the source said bluntly. The next morning, the mood on The View was noticeably subdued. Joy Behar, known for her unapologetic tone and biting humor, opened the show with an unusual sense of restraint. Yesterday's discussion got a little heated, she said, choosing her words carefully. But that's what we do here. We talk. We push buttons. That's how conversations evolve. What she didn't do was apologize. She didn't mention Wahlberg by name, a move that many viewers noticed immediately. Meanwhile, Wahlberg had no intention of staying quiet. That same afternoon, he went live on Instagram from his home gym, sweaty from a workout, looking directly into his phone with raw honesty. "I've done a lot of interviews," he began, "but that one hit different. Not because I got ambushed or anything, I can handle myself. But because there's a bigger issue at play." He paused, taking a breath. "There's a way to ask hard questions without mocking someone's journey. I was there to talk about hope. About change. About giving people who've made mistakes, like me, a shot at something better. If that makes me a target, fine. But let's not pretend cheap shots are journalism." The video went viral within minutes. Celebrities began weighing in. Chris Pratt reposted it, writing, "Respect to Mark Wahlberg, owning your past and standing your ground with class." Dwayne Johnson added a fist emoji and simply wrote, "Real talk." Even Oprah chimed in subtly, tweeting, "True growth speaks for itself. When you walk in truth, you don't need to shout." The conversation quickly grew into something bigger than just Wahlberg versus Behar. People began debating how media handles redemption stories, whether daytime talk shows have become more about controversy than conversation, and how cancel culture has blurred the lines between accountability and shaming. Wahlberg used the moment to launch a new initiative through his Wahlberg Youth Foundation, focusing on second chance programs, specifically for young men and women coming out of incarceration. He pledged an initial donation and encouraged his followers to contribute. "Let's turn a moment of conflict into a movement of change," he wrote in the announcement. Donations poured in. Behar, meanwhile, remained mostly silent. According to insiders, the backlash had rattled her. She was reportedly furious that ABC hadn't come to her defense publicly. Still, on air, she stuck to her guns, continuing with her usual commentary, but with noticeably less venom. Then, a week later, Wahlberg appeared on The Kelly Clarkson Show. Calm, grounded, and flashing that familiar half-smile, he was asked gently about the incident. "Yeah," Wahlberg said, "things got a little spicy. I went there expecting a meaningful conversation. Got something else. But hey, that's life. You stay grounded, speak your truth, and let the rest fall where it may." Kelly chuckled. "You're not going back anytime soon, I'm guessing." Mark grinned. "Let's just say I prefer places where faith, growth, and change are taken seriously." The audience roared with laughter and applause. In the weeks that followed, The View carried on, but something was different. Joy Behar's jabs were softer, more measured. She was still sharp, but no longer seemed invincible. Wahlberg's moment had, in many ways, shifted the tone of daytime television. And for Wahlberg, the clash became more than a viral moment, it became a platform. His foundation's programs expanded, and his new film, the one he came on the show to promote in the first place, went on to break records for a faith-based drama, earning praise not just for its message, but for its authenticity. In the end, Wahlberg didn't just win an argument. He reclaimed the narrative, and reminded the world that redemption isn't a joke. It's a choice. And sometimes, it takes just one bold voice on live TV to make people finally listen.